Millionaire sees a poor girl in front of his restaurant. I'm poor, so they won't let me in. He then. Before we dive into this incredible story, drop a comment below and tell us where you're watching from. You're about to witness a tale of love, redemption, and second chances that will touch your heart. Enjoy the story. The autumn rain had just stopped when Marcus Wellington stepped out of his flagship restaurant, Wellington's, adjusting his expensive charcoal suit. At 35, he was worth millions, but tonight felt different, empty somehow. The elite establishment behind him buzzed with wealthy patrons, crystal glasses clinking, but Marcus felt disconnected from it all. That's when he saw her. A small figure huddled against the brick wall, barely visible in the evening shadows. A little girl, no more than 7, sat beside a bucket of wilted flowers, her tiny hands blue from the cold. Her dark hair was neatly braided despite her worn clothes, and oversized glasses slipped down her small nose. Marcus paused, watching as she tried to straighten a broken stem. Something about her determination struck him deeply. "Excuse me, sir?" The girl's voice was soft, hopeful. "Would you like to buy a flower? They're only $2. Marcus looked down at the sad bouquet, flowers that had seen better days, probably rescued from a dumpster behind a florist's shop. But her eyes held such hope, such innocence. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Marcus asked, crouching down to her level. "Emma Rodriguez, sir." She pushed her glasses up nervously. Just then, the rich aroma of garlic and herbs wafted from his restaurant's kitchen. Emma's stomach growled loudly in the quiet evening air. Her cheeks flushed red with embarrassment, and tears began forming in her brown eyes. "I'm sorry, sir," she whispered, her voice cracking. "My tummy made a noise because the food smells so good." She looked toward the restaurant's warm, golden windows. "But I know I can't go in there. They don't let people like me inside." Marcus felt his heart clench. "People like you?" Emma's tears spilled over. "Poor people, sir. I heard the fancy man at the door tell another kid that yesterday. He said only rich people can eat here." She wiped her nose with her sleeve. "I'm poor, so they won't let me in." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. This innocent child, sitting in the cold, selling wilted flowers just to survive, believed she wasn't worthy of warmth and food simply because she was poor. Marcus stood up, his jaw set with determination. "Emma Rodriguez," he said firmly, "I own this restaurant. And I'm inviting you inside right now. You can eat here whenever you want. Always." Emma's eyes widened in disbelief. "Really, sir? Even though I'm poor? Especially because you're brave, kind, and deserving." Marcus extended his hand. "Come on. Let's get you fed." As Emma's small, cold hand slipped into his, Marcus had no idea that this simple act of kindness would change his life forever. Tomorrow would bring a shock that would turn his world completely upside down. Marcus led Emma through the polished glass doors of Wellington's, ignoring the surprised stares from his impeccably dressed staff. The little girl's eyes widened as she took in the crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, and gleaming silverware. "Mr. Wellington?" Cassandra Mitchell, his restaurant manager, approached with a confused expression. "Is everything all right?" "Everything's perfect, Cassandra." Marcus guided Emma to his private corner table, reserved for VIP guests and business meetings. "This is Emma Rodriguez, and she's our special guest tonight." Emma sat on the edge of the velvet chair, afraid to touch anything. Marcus noticed her nervousness and smiled warmly. "Emma, what's your favorite food?" I don't know, sir," she whispered. "Mama and I usually just eat rice and beans. Sometimes bread if we're lucky." Marcus's heart ached. He signaled to the head chef, Thomas, who hurried over. "Prepare our finest children's meal," Marcus instructed. "Chicken tenders, mashed potatoes, vegetables, and chocolate cake for dessert. Make it special." While they waited, Emma told Marcus about her life in halting sentences. She lived far away with her mama, who worked cleaning offices at night. They sold flowers during the day to buy food. She'd never been inside a restaurant before. When the food arrived, Emma stared at the beautifully plated meal in wonder. "This is for me?" she asked in disbelief. "All for you," Marcus confirmed. Emma ate slowly, savoring every bite. Between mouthfuls, she chatted about her favorite subject in school, reading, and how she dreamed of having her own books someday. "You're very smart, Emma," Marcus observed, genuinely impressed by her vocabulary and manners despite her circumstances. After dinner, Marcus walked Emma to the door and handed her a crisp $50 bill. "For you and your mama." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Mr. Marcus, you're the nicest person I've ever met. Mama says angels don't have wings sometimes, they just have kind hearts." Marcus felt an unfamiliar warmth spread through his chest. "Emma, I want you to remember something important. You can come here anytime you're hungry. Day or night. Just ask for me." "Really?" Emma clutched the money to her chest. "I promise. This is your place too now." As Emma prepared to leave, she turned back with a shy smile. "Mr. Marcus? Tomorrow I want to bring someone special to meet you. Is that okay?" "Of course. Who would you like to bring?" "My mama. I want her to meet the angel who took care of me tonight." Marcus watched Emma disappear into the evening darkness, her small figure illuminated briefly by streetlights. He had no idea that tomorrow's meeting would shatter everything he thought he knew about his life. Inside his empty penthouse later that night, Marcus couldn't stop thinking about Emma's words. "They don't let people like me inside." When had his dream restaurant become a place that excluded the most deserving? Tomorrow couldn't come fast enough. That night, Marcus sat alone in his penthouse apartment, 30 floors above the city lights. The place was a testament to his success: marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, designer furniture worth more than most people's cars. Yet tonight, it felt like a beautiful prison. He couldn't shake Emma's image from his mind. Her tiny hands holding wilted flowers, her embarrassed tears when her stomach growled, her innocent belief that she wasn't worthy of warmth and food. It stirred something deep within him, something he'd buried under years of business deals and corporate climbing. Marcus walked to his home office, where a framed photo sat on his mahogany desk. His mother, Isabella Wellington, smiled back at him, a woman who had cleaned houses and worked double shifts at a diner just to keep food on their table. She'd died 5 years ago, never living to see his massive success. "What would you think of me now, Mama?" he whispered to the photograph. Isabella had raised him alone after his father abandoned them when Marcus was 8. She'd worked her fingers raw so he could have school supplies and decent clothes. He remembered her coming home exhausted, her hands cracked from cleaning chemicals, but she'd still help him with homework and tell him stories about princes who rescued people in need. "You're gonna be someone special, Marcus," she used to say. "But don't forget where you come from. Success means nothing if you can't lift others up with you." Somewhere along the way, he'd forgotten that lesson. He'd become so focused on building his empire that he'd stopped seeing the people around him. His restaurants served the wealthy elite while children like Emma sat outside, hungry and unwelcome. Marcus poured himself a glass of expensive whiskey but didn't drink it. Instead, he stared out at the city, thinking about all the Emmas out there, invisible children struggling while he counted profits. His phone buzzed with text messages from colleagues about tomorrow's board meeting, from women wanting dinner dates, from investors discussing new ventures. But none of it mattered anymore. The only person he wanted to see tomorrow was a 7-year-old girl with broken glasses and a heart full of hope. He made a mental note to call his lawyer in the morning. He wanted to establish a fund for families like Emma's, something his mother would have been proud of. Something that would make his success meaningful beyond bank accounts and property portfolios. As he finally headed to bed, Marcus felt a strange anticipation for tomorrow that had nothing to do with business. He wanted to meet Emma's mother, this woman who had raised such a remarkable little girl despite impossible circumstances. He had no idea that tomorrow would bring not just a meeting, but a collision with his own past that would change everything he thought he knew about destiny, love, and second chances. The lonely millionaire fell asleep thinking about angels without wings and little girls who deserved the world. The next evening, Marcus arrived at Wellington's an hour early, his heart racing with unexplained anticipation. He'd spent the entire day distracted, checking his phone every few minutes, wondering when Emma would arrive. He'd instructed Cassandra to reserve his private table and had even asked the chef to prepare extra portions. At exactly 6 o'clock, the restaurant's front door chimed. Marcus looked up from his papers, expecting to see Emma's small figure, but instead saw her walking hand in hand with a woman whose silhouette made his breath catch in his throat. As they approached through the dining room, Marcus rose from his chair, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. The woman lifted her head, and time stopped completely. Sophia? The name escaped his lips like a prayer, like a wound reopening after 15 years. Sophia Rodriguez froze mid-step, her dark eyes locking with his in shock. She was thinner than he remembered, worn down by life's struggles, but unmistakably the girl who had owned his heart in high school. Her black hair was longer now, pulled back in a simple ponytail, and fine lines around her eyes spoke of hardships he could only imagine. "Marcus?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Emma looked up at both adults, confused by their strange reaction. "Mama, this is Mr. Marcus, the nice man I told you about. The one who let me eat here and gave us money." Neither adult responded. They stood frozen, staring at each other across 15 years of separation, lost love, and roads not taken. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know." Emma said a nice man, but she never said. She pressed her hand to her mouth, overwhelmed. Marcus stepped forward, his voice barely above a whisper. "Sophia Martinez. After all these years. Rodriguez now," she corrected softly. "Sophia Rodriguez." Emma tugged on her mother's worn coat. "Mama, can we sit down? Mr. Marcus said I could eat here whenever I want. Can you eat here too? Please?" The innocent question broke the spell. Marcus immediately gestured to his table. "Of course. Please, both of you sit." As they settled into the plush chairs, Emma chattering excitedly about the menu, Marcus and Sophia exchanged glances heavy with unspoken history. Marcus noticed Sophia's hands, once soft and artistic, now rough from hard work. She noticed his expensive suit, his confident posture. The boy she'd loved had become everything he'd dreamed of becoming. "You look good, Marcus," Sophia said quietly while Emma studied the menu. "Successful. I'm proud of you." "Sophia, Marcus started, then stopped. There were too many questions, too many years, too much pain and joy colliding in this moment. Emma suddenly looked up with worry. "Mama, why are you crying? Did I do something wrong bringing you here?" Sophia quickly wiped her eyes and forced a smile. "No, baby. These are happy tears. Mama just hasn't seen Mr. Marcus in a very long time." As they ordered dinner, the weight of their shared past hung in the air. But beneath the shock and confusion, something else stirred, the ghost of a love that had never really died, complicated now by a beautiful little girl who had brought them back together. Halfway through the meal, Sophia's phone buzzed. She checked it and paled, quickly standing up. "We have to go," she said urgently. "Emma, finish your food quickly." "But Mama, now Emma." Marcus saw the fear flash across Sophia's face and stood up too. "Sophia, what's wrong?" But she was already gathering their things, leaving Marcus with 1,000 questions and the crushing realization that finding Sophia again might mean losing her just as quickly. 3 days passed before Sophia and Emma returned to Wellington's. Marcus had barely slept, replaying every moment of their reunion, wondering what had frightened Sophia so suddenly that night. When he finally saw them walk through the door, relief flooded through him. This time, Sophia seemed calmer but guarded. Emma immediately ran to Marcus with the drawing she'd made, a picture of the three of them standing in front of the restaurant, all smiling. "I drew our family dinner," Emma announced proudly. Sophia's cheeks flushed. "Emma, honey, we talked about this. Mr. Marcus is just being kind. It's beautiful, Emma," Marcus said, accepting the drawing. "Can I keep it?" As Emma settled at their table with a coloring book Marcus had bought for her, he and Sophia began the delicate process of catching up on 15 years of separation. "I tried to find you," Sophia said quietly, stirring her coffee. When you left for Stanford, I wrote letters. I called. But your roommate said you were too busy with school and internships. Marcus felt a stab of regret. I was building my future. I thought you'd wait or follow me or... He trailed off. I was young and stupid. Sophia nodded sadly. We both were. When I didn't hear from you after graduation, I met Diego Martinez at my job. He was charming at first, persistent. I was lonely and hurt, and when I got pregnant with Emma... She gestured helplessly. You married him, Marcus finished. I thought I was doing the right thing. Diego seemed stable, responsible. But after Emma was born, he changed completely. Sophia's voice dropped to a whisper. He started drinking, staying out all night, getting involved with the wrong people. Emma looked up from her coloring. Mama, are you talking about my papa? The one who went away? Sophia forced a smile. Just grown-up talk, baby. Keep coloring your pretty flowers. Marcus leaned forward. Where is he now? Sophia's hands trembled slightly. We've been separated for 2 years. I took Emma and we moved far away. He doesn't know where we are, and I want to keep it that way. Sophia, if he's dangerous, he's not in our lives anymore, she said firmly, but Marcus caught the fear in her eyes. Emma and I are fine now. We take care of each other. But Marcus noticed how Sophia constantly checked her phone, how she chose seats facing the door, how she flinched at sudden noises. There was more to this story, darker truths she wasn't ready to share. As the evening progressed, they talked about happier memories, high school dances, shared dreams, the plans they'd once made together. Emma fell asleep against Sophia's shoulder, clutching her crayon. She's beautiful, Marcus said. You've done an amazing job with her. She's my whole world, Sophia whispered, stroking Emma's hair. Everything I do is for her. When Marcus offered to drive them home, Sophia politely declined. We take the bus. We're used to it. But as he watched them disappear into the night, Marcus knew Sophia was hiding something bigger, something that made her look over her shoulder and hurry Emma away whenever her phone buzzed. He was determined to find out what it was. Over the following 2 weeks, Marcus transformed Wellingtons in ways that surprised everyone. He created a small corner area near his private table with children's books, coloring supplies, and comfortable cushions. The staff, initially puzzled by their boss's sudden interest in a poor woman and her child, soon grew fond of Emma's cheerful presence and Sophia's quiet grace. Marcus began scheduling his evenings around their visits. He'd arrive early, dismiss his usual business dinners, and wait for the moment when Emma would burst through the door, followed by Sophia's cautious but increasingly warm smile. During these visits, he and Sophia slowly rebuilt the connection they'd once shared. They talked about everything except the one subject that made Sophia's eyes cloud over: her marriage to Diego and their current circumstances. Do you remember when we used to dream about opening a restaurant together? Sophia asked one evening, watching Emma arrange her crayons by color. Marcus smiled. You wanted to serve authentic Mexican food, and I wanted to create elegant presentations. We thought we'd revolutionize dining. Instead, you revolutionized it without me, Sophia said without bitterness. I'm proud of what you've built, Marcus. Really. It feels empty sometimes, he admitted. Success without someone to share it with, it's just numbers on a bank statement. Sophia looked up from her hands. You never married? Came close a few times. But no one ever. He met her eyes. No one was ever you. The admission hung between them, 15 years of what-ifs crystallizing into something real and present. Emma, oblivious to the adult tension, crawled onto Marcus's lap with her latest drawing. Look, Mr. Marcus. I drew you teaching me to read like you did yesterday. Marcus's heart swelled. He'd been helping Emma with her homework, discovering she was incredibly bright but lacked proper resources. You're getting so good at writing, Emma. Soon you'll be reading chapter books. Will you still help me when I'm bigger? Emma asked seriously. As long as you want me to, Marcus promised, not realizing how those words affected Sophia. Later, as they prepared to leave, Sophia lingered while Emma ran to the bathroom. Marcus, I need to tell you something, she began, but stopped when her phone buzzed. She checked it, and her face drained of color. What is it? Marcus asked. Nothing. Just, we should go. But her hands were shaking as she gathered Emma's things. Sophia, talk to me. Whatever's wrong, you don't understand, she whispered urgently. Some things can't be fixed with money or kindness. Some people don't just go away because you want them to. Before Marcus could respond, Emma returned, and Sophia was back to her careful, controlled demeanor. But as they left that night, Marcus noticed Sophia kept looking over her shoulder, and she held Emma's hand tighter than usual. The next evening, when Sophia walked into Wellington's, Marcus immediately saw what she tried to hide with makeup: a purple bruise along her left cheekbone and a small cut on her lip. Emma ran ahead to their table, chattering about her day at school, unaware of Marcus's sharp intake of breath as he stared at Sophia's face. Don't, Sophia whispered before he could speak. Not in front of Emma. But Marcus had seen enough. The fearful phone checks, the sudden departures, the bruises, it all made terrible sense now. Diego Martinez wasn't just an ex-husband from Sophia's past. He was still very much a threat in their present. After Emma fell asleep in the restaurant's corner cushions, exhausted from a long day at school, Marcus gently led Sophia to a private booth in the back of Wellington's. The bruise on her cheek looked worse under the soft lighting, and the cut on her lip had reopened slightly. Tell me, Marcus said quietly, his voice controlled but his hands clenched into fists. Tell me who did this to you. Sophia touched her cheek self-consciously. It's complicated, Marcus. You wouldn't understand. Try me. Sophia took a shaky breath. Diego found us 2 weeks ago. I don't know how, but he tracked us down. Her voice cracked. We've been running for 2 years, Marcus. Moving from city to city, never staying anywhere long enough to get comfortable. I thought we were finally safe here. Marcus felt rage building in his chest. He hit you. He's angry that I took Emma away. He says I have no right to keep his daughter from him, but Marcus. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. He never wanted her when she was a baby. He called her a burden, a mistake. Now suddenly he wants custody? What does he really want? Sophia wiped her eyes. Money. He's in debt to some very dangerous people. He thinks because Emma sells flowers near expensive restaurants, we must have money hidden somewhere. When I couldn't give him what he wanted, She gestured to her face. Marcus stood up abruptly, pacing behind the booth. This ends now. I'm calling the police. No! Sophia grabbed his arm. You don't understand. Diego has connections, friends in the system. He's been in and out of jail for years, but he always finds ways around the law. If we involve the police, he'll convince them I'm an unfit mother, that I kidnapped Emma. Then what's your plan? Keep running forever? Let him terrorize you whenever he feels like it. Sophia slumped in her seat. I've been saving money to disappear again. Maybe go to another state, change our names, like hell. Marcus sat back down, taking her hands in his. Sophia, I'm not letting you run anymore. I have resources, security, lawyers. I can protect you both. I can't accept charity, Marcus. I won't be some rich man's pity project. Marcus's voice softened. Look at me. When she met his eyes, he continued. This isn't charity. This isn't pity. I love you, Sophia. I loved you 15 years ago, and I love you now. I love Emma like she's already my daughter. Let me protect my family. Sophia stared at him, tears flowing freely now. Family? If you'll have me. If you'll let me be part of this. From across the restaurant, Emma stirred on her cushions and called out sleepily. Mama? Mr. Marcus? Why are you sitting so far away? Sophia quickly wiped her eyes and forced a smile. We're coming, baby. As they walked back to Emma, Sophia whispered to Marcus. If I say yes, if I let you help us, Diego won't just disappear. He'll become more dangerous. Marcus put his arm around her protectively. Then we'll be ready for him. But neither of them knew that Diego had already discovered where Sophia worked, where Emma went to school, and most dangerously, who Marcus Wellington was. The predator was closing in, and the next move would be his. Within 72 hours, Marcus had completely transformed Sophia and Emma's world. He moved them into a secure apartment building across town, one with a doorman, security cameras, and controlled access. The two-bedroom unit was furnished with everything they needed: Emma's own room painted in soft lavender with bookshelves full of news stories, a kitchen stocked with food, and most importantly, safety. Sophia initially resisted the level of Marcus's generosity, her pride warring with her desperate need to protect Emma. "This is too much," she protested as Emma ran through the apartment in wonder, touching everything like she was in a fairy tale. "It's not enough," Marcus replied firmly. "Not after what you've been through." That same week, Marcus offered Sophia a position as administrative coordinator at his corporate headquarters. "You were always brilliant with organization and people," he told her. "I've seen your high school grades. This isn't charity. I need someone I can trust." Sophia hesitated. "I haven't worked in an office in years. I've been cleaning buildings, waiting tables, whatever paid cash daily, you'll remember. And if you need training, we'll provide it." Meanwhile, Emma thrived in ways that broke and healed Sophia's heart simultaneously. Marcus enrolled her in Riverside Elementary, a prestigious private school where she could get the education she deserved. He bought her new clothes, a proper backpack, and most treasured of all, a pair of glasses that actually fit her face. "Look, Mama!" Emma spun around in her new school uniform. "I look like a real student." "You were always a real student, baby," Sophia whispered, but she understood what Emma meant. For the first time, her daughter looked like she belonged. Evenings became magical in their new routine. Marcus would arrive after work with takeout from Wellington's, always something different for Emma to try. They'd eat dinner together at the small dining table, Emma chattering about her day while Sophia and Marcus exchanged looks of wonder at how naturally they'd become a family. Marcus taught Emma to play chess on weekend mornings while Sophia attended online college courses to complete her interrupted education. He was patient with Emma's questions, celebrating every small victory, never showing frustration when she forgot the rules. "Mr. Marcus," Emma said one Saturday, studying the chessboard intently, "are you going to marry my mama?" Marcus nearly choked on his coffee while Sophia froze, her laptop balanced on her knees. "Would you like that?" Marcus asked carefully. Emma nodded seriously. "Then you'd be my papa for real, right? Not like the other papa who made Mama cry." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Emma, sweetie, I want a papa who brings us food and teaches me games and doesn't scare us," Emma continued matter-of-factly. "You're nice like that, Mr. Marcus." Marcus looked across the room at Sophia, seeing his own feelings reflected in her expression. They were falling in love all over again, but this time it was deeper, built on shared purpose and genuine partnership. 3 weeks into their new life, Sophia found Marcus on the apartment's small balcony late one evening, staring out at the city lights. "Regrets?" she asked softly, joining him. "The opposite," Marcus replied, pulling her close. "I never knew I could feel this complete. You and Emma, you've given my life meaning beyond anything I've accomplished professionally." Sophia leaned against his chest, finally allowing herself to believe in happiness again. "I love you, Marcus Wellington." "I love you too, Sophia Rodriguez. Both of you." But as they stood there planning their future together, either noticed the figure watching their building from across the street, or the photos being taken with a telephoto lens. Diego Martinez had been patient, gathering information, learning their routines, and he was ready to make his move. 2 months into their new life together, Sophia realized she hadn't looked over her shoulder in weeks. The constant fear that had defined her existence for 2 years was finally beginning to fade. Emma was flourishing at Riverside Elementary, making friends and excelling in her studies. Sophia had proven herself invaluable at Marcus's company, earning respect from colleagues who initially wondered about the boss's mysterious new hire. But it was the quiet evening moments that meant the most. One Friday night, after Emma had fallen asleep during a movie on their living room couch, Sophia and Marcus found themselves alone together, really alone, for the first time since reconnecting. The apartment was peaceful, city lights twinkling through the windows, and suddenly the 15 years between their past and present seemed to dissolve. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we never lost touch?" Sophia asked, curled against Marcus on the couch. Marcus stroked her hair gently. "Every day. But maybe we needed to live those other lives to appreciate this one. To become the people we needed to be for Emma." Sophia looked up at him. "I never stopped loving you completely, you know. Even when I tried to move on, even when I married Diego, part of my heart was always waiting for you to come back." Marcus cupped her face in his hands, careful of the faded bruise that was finally healing. "I compared every woman I dated to you. No one ever measured up because no one was you." When they kissed, it felt like coming home after a long, difficult journey. Not the desperate passion of teenagers, but the deep, certain love of two people who had found their way back to each other through pain and time. "I want to marry you," Marcus whispered against her lips. "I want to adopt Emma. I want us to be a real family, legally and officially." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Yes," she breathed. "Yes to all of it." Emma stirred on the couch, her eyes fluttering open to see them embracing. Instead of being startled, she smiled sleepily. "Are you kissing like in the princess movies?" she asked innocently. Sophia and Marcus laughed, making room for Emma between them. "Maybe a little," Sophia admitted. Emma clapped her hands together. "Does this mean we're going to be a family for real? Like forever and ever?" "Forever and ever," Marcus confirmed, lifting Emma onto his lap. "If that's what you want." "It's what I wish for every night when I sold flowers," Emma said seriously. "I wish for a nice papa who would love me and Mama and keep us safe." The three of them sat together in the soft lamplight, planning their future. They talked about wedding ideas. Emma insisted she needed a sparkly dress as the flower girl. They discussed moving to a house with a yard where Emma could have a dog. Marcus promised to teach Emma how to ride a bike and take family vacations to places she'd only seen in books. For the first time in years, Sophia allowed herself to dream beyond mere survival. Later that night, after tucking Emma into her own bed in her own room, Sophia and Marcus stood in the hallway holding hands. "I keep waiting for something to go wrong," Sophia admitted. "This feels too perfect to last." Marcus pulled her close. "Nothing's going to happen to us. We're safe now. We're together now. That's all that matters." But as they spoke about their future, either noticed the shadow that had been following Emma home from school that week, or the fact that their building's security cameras had been mysteriously disabled that afternoon. Diego Martinez had spent months planning his return, and tomorrow he would make his presence known in a way that would shatter their perfect new world. The family that was just beginning to heal was about to face its greatest test. Spring arrived with a burst of cherry blossoms and warm sunshine, and with it came the happiest period of Sophia's adult life. Marcus had officially proposed with a simple but elegant ring during a quiet dinner at Wellington's, with Emma as their enthusiastic witness. The little girl had insisted on helping choose the ring, declaring it sparkly enough for a real princess. Wedding planning became a joyful family affair. Emma drew countless pictures of dress designs for Sophia, while Marcus handled venue arrangements and catering. They decided on a small ceremony in the restaurant's private garden, followed by a reception for close friends and family. Sophia had enrolled in weekend classes to complete her education degree, something she'd abandoned years ago when Diego convinced her it was a waste of time. Marcus not only supported her studies but helped with Emma when Sophia needed to focus on coursework. "Look what I made at school!" Emma burst through the apartment door one Tuesday afternoon, waving a Mother's Day card she'd crafted. "It's for you, Mama, but I made one for Mr. Marcus too because he takes care of us like a real papa." Marcus felt his heart swell as Emma handed him a card decorated with glitter hearts and the words, "My new papa," written in careful 7-year-old handwriting. But as perfect as their life seemed, small disturbing details began to appear. Sophia first noticed the strange car while walking Emma home from school. A dark blue sedan that seemed to turn when they turned, slow down when they slowed down. She told herself she was being paranoid, that Diego couldn't possibly have found them. Then came the phone calls to their apartment landline, rings with no one on the other end when she answered. Marcus suggested it was probably telemarketers, but Sophia's instincts told her otherwise. One evening, while grocery shopping with Emma, Sophia felt eyes on her. She turned to see a man in a baseball cap quickly look away and disappear around the corner. Her blood ran cold. Something about his build, his posture, seemed familiar. "Mama, you're squeezing my hand too tight," Emma complained. Sophia realized she'd grabbed Emma's hand in a panic. "Sorry, baby. Let's finish shopping and go home." That weekend, Marcus surprised them with tickets to the zoo. As they watched Emma feed the giraffes, Sophia finally voiced her concerns. "Marcus, I think someone's been watching us," she said quietly. Marcus immediately became alert. "What do you mean?" Sophia described the car, the phone calls, the feeling of being followed. "I know it sounds paranoid, but after 2 years of running, you develop instincts about these things." Marcus put his arm around her protectively. "We'll hire private security. Increase the building's safety measures. Whatever it takes." "You don't understand," Sophia whispered, watching Emma laugh as a peacock showed off its feathers. "If Diego found us, he won't just go away. He'll want to hurt us for disappearing. He'll want to hurt you for taking what he considers his." That very moment, Sophia's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Enjoying your new family? We need to talk." Sophia's face went white as she read the message. Her hands began trembling so violently that Marcus had to take the phone from her. "It's him," she breathed. "He found us." Across the zoo, hidden behind a cotton candy stand, Diego Martinez watched them through binoculars, smiling coldly. He'd spent 3 months learning their routines, photographing their apartment building, researching Marcus Wellington's business empire. Now it was time to remind Sophia who really owned her. Despite her growing fears, Sophia made a conscious decision to protect the happiness they built together. She deleted the threatening text before Marcus could read it fully and forced herself to smile for Emma's sake. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe it was just a cruel prank. The following weeks became the most blissful period of Sophia's entire life, and she clung to every moment with desperate joy. Marcus surprised Emma with a bright pink bicycle for her 8th birthday, complete with training wheels and a basket for her stuffed animals. He spent hours in the park, running alongside her as she learned to ride, his laughter mixing with hers when she finally pedaled on her own. "Look, Mama! I'm flying!" Emma called out, her face radiant with accomplishment. Sophia watched from a park bench, tears of happiness streaming down her face. This was the childhood she'd always dreamed of giving Emma, safe, joyful, full of love and encouragement. On weekends, Marcus would take them to his private country club where he taught Emma to swim in the pool. Sophia would float beside them, marveling at how naturally Marcus had stepped into the father role. He was patient with Emma's fears, celebrated her small victories, and never raised his voice even when she splashed water in his face. "Mr. Marcus," Emma said one afternoon, hanging onto the pool's edge, "when you marry Mama, will I call you Papa?" Marcus glanced at Sophia, who nodded with tears in her eyes. "If you want to, sweetheart. I'd be honored." Emma's smile could have powered the entire city. They spent evenings planning their small wedding ceremony. Emma insisted on wearing a purple dress to match the flowers she'd help arrange. Marcus showed them pictures of Wellington's garden space, transformed with twinkling lights and white chairs arranged in a circle. "Only 50 people," Sophia said, reviewing their guest list. "I want it intimate, meaningful." "Perfect," Marcus agreed. "Just the people who matter most." Emma had filled their refrigerator with drawings of their new family, stick figures of the 3 of them holding hands, living in a house with a big yard and a golden retriever named Sunny. "When we move to our house, can we get the puppy?" Emma asked during dinner one night. Marcus and Sophia exchanged glances. They'd been discussing buying a house together, somewhere with space for Emma to run and play. "Soon," Marcus promised. "Very soon." One evening, While Emma practiced piano at the small keyboard Marcus had bought her, Sophia found Marcus on their balcony, staring out at the city with a peaceful expression. "Penny for your thoughts?" she asked, wrapping her arms around him from behind. "I was thinking about my mother," Marcus said. "How proud she'd be to see us together. She always said family wasn't about blood, it was about who you choose to love and protect." Sophia kissed his shoulder. "She'd love Emma. She'd love you both," Marcus said, turning to face her. "Sophia, I want to start adoption proceedings for Emma. I want her to be legally mine too." Sophia's heart swelled. "She'd love that. She's been practicing writing Emma Wellington in her notebook." As they stood together planning their future, either noticed the figure watching from the parking lot below, or the fact that their building's new security guard had been paid to look the other way. The next afternoon, while Marcus was at work and Emma was at school, Sophia returned home to find her apartment door slightly ajar. Her blood turned to ice. She pushed the door open slowly and found Diego Martinez sitting on her couch, looking through Emma's school photos as if he owned the place. "Hello, Sophia," he said with a cold smile. "Miss me?" Sophia's blood turned to ice as she stared at Diego Martinez sitting casually on her couch, flipping through Emma's school photos like he belonged there. 3 years had hardened him. His face was leaner, his eyes colder, and a jagged scar ran from his left ear to his jaw. Prison tattoos covered his forearms, and she could see the outline of something metallic in his jacket pocket. "Hello, Sophia," he said with a predatory smile. "Miss me?" Sophia remained frozen in the doorway, her keys still in her trembling hand. "How did you get in here? This building has security. Money talks, baby. Amazing how cooperative people become for the right price." Diego stood up slowly, deliberately. "Nice place. Much better than that dump you were living in before. Looks like you landed yourself a real sugar daddy." "Get out," Sophia whispered, trying to keep her voice steady. "Emma will be home from school soon." "Emma." Diego picked up one of her daughter's drawings from the coffee table, a happy family picture with "Mama, Papa Marcus and me" written in purple crayon. "My daughter seems to have forgotten she already has a father. You gave up that right when you chose drugs and violence over your family." Diego's expression darkened. "I never gave up anything. You stole my daughter from me. Turned her against me. Fed her lies." Sophia took a step back. "Emma was terrified of you. You used to scream at her when she cried, call her worthless. Shut up." Diego slammed his fist on the coffee table, making Emma's art supplies jump. "I've spent 3 years thinking about what you took from me. 3 years planning how to get it back. What do you want, Diego?" He walked closer, and Sophia caught the familiar smell of alcohol and cigarettes that used to make her stomach turn. "I want what's mine. My daughter. My wife. I'm not your wife anymore. I filed for divorce 2 years ago." Diego laughed bitterly. "Papers don't mean anything to me, Sophia. You belong to me. You always have." He pulled out his phone and showed her photos, pictures of her and Marcus at the zoo, at the park, walking Emma to school. "I've been watching you play house with your rich boyfriend. Very touching. But playtime's over." Sophia's mind raced, calculating how much time she had before Emma's school bus arrived. "What do you want?" $100,000, Diego said matter-of-factly. "Cash. Your boyfriend's got it. Pocket change for a guy like that. I can't ask Marcus for that kind of money, then find another way. Steal it. I don't care." Diego stepped closer, backing her against the wall. "You've got 48 hours. And if I don't?" Diego's smile was pure evil. "Then I take Emma. Tonight. Right out of her pretty little private school. I've got friends in Mexico who'd love to help a father reunite with his daughter. By the time you find us, she'll be so far away you'll never see her again." Sophia's knees nearly buckled. "You can't. She's just a child, she's my child." Diego grabbed Sophia's arm, his grip bruising. And if your boyfriend tries to play hero, well, accidents happen. Rich guys fall downstairs all the time. The sound of the school bus brakes outside made both of them freeze. Emma's home, Sophia breathed. Diego released her arm and straightened his jacket. Remember, 48 hours. 100,000. If you call the cops, if you tell your boyfriend, if you try to run again, I'll make sure Emma pays the price. He walked to the balcony door, which Sophia now realized was how he'd entered. Oh, and Sophia? Next time we meet, we're going to discuss you coming home where you belong. The three of us, like a real family. As Emma's voice echoed in the hallway outside, Diego disappeared over the balcony, leaving Sophia shaking uncontrollably, staring at the violated sanctuary that had been her safe home just minutes before. When Emma burst through the door with her backpack and bright smile, Sophia somehow managed to pull herself together enough to seem normal. But inside, she was already planning how to get $100,000 without destroying the only real happiness she'd ever known. For 24 hours, Sophia lived in terror, jumping at every sound, checking the locks obsessively, and struggling to appear normal around Emma and Marcus. She considered taking the money from her savings and running, but Diego's threats about following them anywhere made escape seem impossible. Finally, when Marcus noticed her trembling hands during dinner and Emma asked why Mama seemed so sad, Sophia broke down and told Marcus everything. He was in our apartment, she sobbed, touching Emma's things, threatening to take her to Mexico where we'd never find her. Marcus went very still, his jaw tightening with controlled rage. Why didn't you tell me immediately? He said he'd hurt Emma if I involved you. He said he'd hurt you too. Marcus pulled Sophia into his arms, his voice deadly calm. He's not going to touch either of you. I promise you that. The next morning, Marcus made arrangements for Sophia and Emma to stay at his penthouse with his personal security team while he handled Diego. He also hired 2 additional bodyguards and informed the school to allow no one except Sophia or himself to pick up Emma. I'm going to end this, Marcus told Sophia as he prepared to leave. Today. Marcus, please be careful. Diego isn't just violent, he's desperate. Desperate people do unpredictable things. Marcus had arranged to meet Diego in the parking lot of a shopping center, public enough to discourage violence, private enough to speak freely. When he arrived, Diego was already there, leaning against a beat-up truck, smoking a cigarette. Marcus had expected to feel intimidated meeting Sophia's ex-husband, but looking at Diego now, unshaven, thin from drug use, wearing clothes that reeked of desperation, he felt only disgust. You must be the famous Marcus Wellington, Diego said with mock courtesy. Sophia's sugar daddy. I'm the man who loves Sophia and Emma, Marcus replied evenly. And the man who's going to make you disappear from their lives permanently. Diego laughed. With what? Money? You think you can buy me off? 100,000, as you demanded. But with conditions. Marcus pulled out a legal document. You sign away all parental rights to Emma. You agree to never contact Sophia or Emma again. You disappear completely. Diego pretended to consider it, then smiled coldly. You know what? I've changed my mind. 100,000 isn't enough anymore. I want 500,000. Marcus felt his control slipping. The deal was 100. The deal is whatever I say it is. Diego's voice rose. You rich boys think everything has a price. But some things can't be bought. Sophia belongs to me. She's mine. She'll always be mine. Marcus stepped closer, his voice deadly quiet. Sophia belongs to herself. Emma deserves a father who protects her, not one who terrorizes her. I'm offering you enough money to start over somewhere else. Take it. Diego flicked his cigarette at Marcus's feet. Or what? You'll call the cops? Go ahead. By the time they sort everything out, Emma will be long gone. I've got friends who specialize in making people disappear. You're making a mistake, Marcus warned. No, you're making the mistake. You think because you have money, you can steal my family. But I know where Emma goes to school, where you work, where Sophia shops. I can get to any of you, anytime I want. Marcus pulled out his phone and showed Diego something that made the other man's face go pale. Actually, I've been recording this entire conversation. Making threats against a minor, extortion, violation of restraining orders. That's enough to put you away for years. Diego's hand moved to his jacket pocket. You're cleverer than I thought. But not clever enough. Before Marcus could react, Diego had pulled out a knife. Delete that recording. Now. Marcus realized with growing dread that reasoning with Diego was impossible. The man wasn't just desperate for money, he was obsessed with controlling Sofia, willing to destroy anyone who stood in his way. As Diego advanced with the knife, Marcus understood that this confrontation wouldn't end with negotiations or legal documents. It would end with one of them walking away, and the other not walking away at all. The confrontation in the parking lot ended when security guards from the shopping center approached, drawn by Diego's raised voice. Diego quickly pocketed the knife and backed away, but not before hissing at Marcus. This isn't over. Not even close. Marcus immediately called the police and filed a formal report, providing them with the recording of Diego's threats. Detective Sarachin assured him they would issue an arrest warrant, but warned that Diego had likely already gone into hiding. Men like this don't give up easily, Detective Chen explained. He sees his ex-wife and daughter as possessions, not people. I recommend maintaining maximum security until we have him in custody. For the next 48 hours, Marcus, Sofia, and Emma lived in the penthouse under constant protection. Emma didn't fully understand why she couldn't go to school or the park, but she sensed the adults' fear and stayed close to Sofia. On Thursday morning, Sofia had to go to the office for an important client meeting she couldn't postpone. Marcus wanted to cancel it, but Sofia insisted that hiding forever wasn't living. I'll take the security team with me, she promised. Emma will be safe here with you and the guards. But that afternoon, Emma's private school called the penthouse in a panic. Mr. Wellington? This is Principal Anderson. A man claiming to be Emma's father picked her up an hour ago. He had official-looking custody documents and said there was a family emergency. We tried calling Sofia, but her phone went straight to voicemail. Marcus felt the world tilt beneath his feet. What did this man look like? Hispanic, medium height, dark hair. He knew Emma's full name, her teacher's name, even her birthday. Emma seemed to recognize him but appeared frightened. Marcus was already grabbing his keys. Call the police immediately. This is a kidnapping. Sofia's screams echoed through the penthouse when Marcus called her with the news. He has my baby! Oh God, Marcus, he has Emma! Within hours, the FBI was involved. Diego had violated federal kidnapping laws by taking Emma across state lines. Security footage showed him heading toward the highway in a stolen van. Agent Roberts, the lead investigator, spread Emma's photo to every law enforcement agency in the region. The good news is that Diego wants money, not to hurt Emma, Agent Roberts told the frantic parents. He'll contact you soon with demands. The call came at midnight. Diego's voice was cold and triumphant. Missing something, Sofia? Please, Sofia sobbed into the phone. Don't hurt her. She's just a little girl. She's my little girl. And she's going to stay with me until you come home where you belong. Marcus grabbed the phone. What do you want? $500,000. Cash. No cops, no FBI, no tricks. You have 12 hours. Let me talk to Emma. I need to know she's safe. After a pause, Emma's trembling voice came through the speaker. Mr. Marcus? I want to come home. I want my mama. We're going to get you, sweetheart. Be brave for us, okay? Diego came back on the line. Warehouse District, Pier 47. Come alone, Sofia. Bring the money. If I see anyone else, if I smell cops, you'll never see her again. The line went dead. Sofia collapsed into Marcus's arms, shaking uncontrollably. He's going to kill her. I know him. When he gets angry enough, he doesn't think straight. Marcus held her tightly, his own heart breaking. We're getting her back. Whatever it takes. But as the FBI prepared their response plan, none of them knew that Diego had already moved Emma to a second location, an abandoned warehouse where he planned to disappear with her forever, leaving Sophia and Marcus to suffer the way he had suffered. The clock was ticking, and Emma was running out of time. The FBI had traced Diego's cell phone to the warehouse district, but by the time they arrived at Pier 47, they found only an empty building and a taunting note. Wrong place. She's mine now. For 6 agonizing hours, Sophia and Marcus waited as law enforcement searched every abandoned building in a 20-mile radius. Sophia hadn't stopped crying, blaming herself for every decision that had led to this moment. I should have run farther, she whispered. I should have changed our names, moved to another country. I put Emma in danger by trying to build a normal life. Marcus took her hands firmly. Look at me, Sophia. This is not your fault. Diego made these choices. We're going to find her. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Emma herself. At the second warehouse. While Diego was distracted counting the ransom money he never collected, Emma remembered Marcus teaching her to be brave and smart. She quietly used Diego's dropped phone to call the emergency number Marcus had made her memorize. 911, what's your emergency? This is Emma Wellington. She whispered into the phone, using Marcus's last name like he'd taught her. The bad man took me. I'm scared. The 911 operator kept Emma on the line while tracing the call. Can you tell me what you see around you, sweetheart? Big windows. Water outside. A sign that says Riverside Storage. Emma's voice was barely audible. He has a gun. He keeps saying Mama has to come back to him forever. Within minutes, SWAT teams surrounded the Riverside storage facility. Diego, realizing he was trapped, became increasingly erratic and dangerous. They followed you! He screamed at Emma, waving his gun wildly. You little brat, you ruined everything! But Emma had learned courage from watching Sophia survive impossible situations, and strength from Marcus's patient love. My mama doesn't belong to you, she said with 7-year-old defiance. My real papa is coming to get me. Diego raised his hand to strike her, but at that moment, the warehouse door exploded open. Marcus had insisted on joining the rescue team, despite FBI protests. When he saw Diego threatening Emma, something primal took over. He charged forward, tackling Diego to the ground before the man could react. Emma, run to the police! Marcus shouted as he struggled with Diego for the gun. Emma sprinted toward the SWAT officers while Marcus and Diego fought desperately. The gun went off once, then twice, bullets ricocheting off concrete walls. Finally, Marcus managed to wrestle the weapon away, pinning Diego until officers could arrest him. It's over, Marcus panted, holding the sobbing, shaking little girl as Sophia burst through the police cordon. It's over, sweetheart. You're safe. 6 months later, Sophia Martinez Wellington adjusted her white dress one final time as she looked in the mirror of Wellington's private dining room. Today, she was marrying the man who had saved not just her life, but her daughter's life and her faith in the future. Emma, now 8 years old and legally Emma Wellington, wore a purple dress covered in sparkles and carried a bouquet of white roses. She had been seeing a child therapist to process her trauma, but her resilience amazed everyone who knew her. Ready, Mama? Emma asked, straightening Sophia's veil. Ready, baby. The ceremony took place in Wellington's garden, exactly as they'd planned months ago. 50 close friends and colleagues watched as Marcus and Sophia exchanged vows that included promises not just to each other, but to Emma. I promise to love you both fiercely, Marcus said, tears in his eyes. To protect this family with everything I have. To be the father and husband you both deserve. Sophia's vows were simpler. You gave us hope when we had none. You gave us safety when we were afraid. You gave us love when we thought we weren't worthy of it. I promise to spend my life showing you that you chose well. During the reception, Emma stood on a chair to make her own speech. Mr. Marcus saved us when we were hungry and scared. Now he's my real papa forever. He taught me that families aren't just the people you're born with, they're the people who choose to love you every day. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Diego Martinez was sentenced to 15 years in prison for kidnapping, extortion, and weapons charges. The judge noted that his complete lack of remorse made him a continued danger to society. Marcus and Sophia honeymooned in Italy while Emma stayed with Marcus's trusted business partner and his wife. When they returned, they moved into a beautiful house with a big yard where Emma could play safely. Sophia completed her education degree and now runs a program for domestic violence survivors through the Wellington Foundation. Marcus stepped back from day-to-day business operations to spend more time with his family. Every evening, they have dinner together. Every weekend, they visit parks and museums. Every night, Marcus reads Emma a bedtime story while Sophia watches from the doorway, still amazed that this is her life. The little girl who once sold wilted flowers outside a restaurant now helps other children through the foundation, showing them that kindness exists, that love can heal, and that sometimes angels do appear when you need them most. And Marcus learned that true wealth isn't measured in bank accounts or business deals. It's measured in the laughter of a little girl who calls you Papa, and the love of a woman who chose to trust you with her broken heart. Their family was born from one small act of kindness, but it grew through countless daily choices to love, protect, and believe in each other. Some fairy tales do come true. They just don't always start with once upon a time. Sometimes they start with a hungry child, a kind heart, and the courage to say, "You belong here too."